Howdy Ags. Welcome back to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M, where we help Ags improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998. Whoop!
We got a little story for you, Ags. Roy Homfeld, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001, the best Fighting Texas Aggie class, is the owner, head designer, and engineer of Tracy Custom Homes. Tracy Custom Homes is an Aggie 100 winner and a fast-growing custom home design firm headquartered in Farmersville, Texas, just outside Dallas. Well, after graduation, Roy took the entrepreneurial journey after having 13 years in a corporate America. And in the 5 years since he has stepped out on his own, he has grown his company 6x.
So pass it back and listen up as Roy shares some good bull.
Welcome back, Ags. I can't wait for you to hear this episode with the amazing guest that we've got. Roy, thank you so much for taking your time to join us today and share your wisdom about your business and how it's growing and how you're overcoming challenges.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited, super excited to be here. I can get to visit with y'all and talk about business and anything that I can help provide. I get so much knowledge from everybody who's been on the show before.
Well, we love having Aggies on the show, and we are in especially good company today because we've got two Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001 grads on the show. So sorry, you're outnumbered here, Chris. But Roy,
right.
you and I walked. 98's dead. But no, Roy, you and I were on campus walking the same streets at the same time. What do you miss most about being at A&M as a student?
Yeah, I think every time, so we're season ticket holders, we try to go back as often as we can. And I think it's just that camaraderie, seeing the smiling faces. I don't know that I've traveled quite a bit. I don't know that I ever go anywhere where I see, especially young people smiling, having a great time, saying howdy. It's just one of those things that really energizes me. And each time we go back to campus, just get a lot of, energy and excitement for the youth. Since I can't really say that I was, the young one anymore in the group, we get that youth and positivity from the people that are coming through College Station at this time. And I still have a lot of, get positive vibes about what A&M is doing in an education platform and providing quality employees for employers like ourselves.
Nice.
That's probably what I miss the most is just, just the positive energy and vibe that we get from down there. I mean, I enjoy Northgate and Kyle and Bluebell Park and Reed, but yeah, I really enjoy just visiting with people and seeing that positive energy.
Love it.
I find it interesting that everyone always names the sports complexes. No one says Halliburton or Al Booty or Wayne or Evans Library. No one says any of that.
Blocker,
Blocker,
the most iconic building on campus.
Right.
Yeah. All the labs, the late night library. I don't even know if students go to libraries these days. They probably don't have to check out books. I guess it's all online. But anyway,
that's a great question. I mean, I'm obviously older than both of y'all. Class of '98, and y'all are class of '01. So, but I would imagine that they still have to use the libraries, right?
I mean, you use the desk in there in the quiet space. I don't know if they use the books.
If you're in the court, you go there to take a naps.
Right. Very true.
So one of my favorite things about Aggie Growth Hacks is listening and hearing every entrepreneur's origin stories, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about Tracy's Custom Homes and really how y'all started it?
Sure. So I don't know how much time we have, but in short, so I worked getting out of college. I worked. So I graduated with an engineering degree. Went to work for a Department of Defense company. That was 2001, graduated in December, right after 9/11. Nobody's hiring. Actually had 3 job offers that were pulled back. They were a little more closely related to my degree path. And just because companies put a pause on hold, on everything as far as hiring goes. So obviously Department of Defense companies were hiring. We were about to go to war, and American guy in me wanted to support that as best as I could. And so I went to work for a corporation. And anyway, I learned a ton there, and thank my time with them very much. But it kind of started off. My wife and I wanted to build a house. We couldn't find anything that we really liked, and so somebody in the company gave me an idea. Said, "Hey, why don't you design your own home and build it?" And so from there, I bought a ton of architecture textbooks. Probably read those cover to cover more than I ever did my engineering textbooks. And really just it was kind of a hobby on the side and something that was fun to learn. So long story short, we designed our own home. The plans got passed around. We ended up building that house. Plans got passed around to a couple of contractors. They were like, "Hey, these are really nice and clean, and would you mind doing a project for me or somebody else here and there?" So I started off doing 3 or 4 houses a year. Somebody would call and say, "Hey, would you mind?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." Long story short, again, trying to speed through this a little bit. But we probably over a 7 to 8 year period, we ramped up from doing 4 or 5 a year to where we were doing about 40 a year. And
Oh,
obviously,
wow.
I was working as an engineer, moved into program management, and was already working 50, 60 hours for a corporation. And now having to try to work, 4 in the morning till 8 in the morning before I went to their job, doing house plans, and then the evening meeting with customers to talk about what they wanted for the next house. It just got to a point where I had to sit down and really make a decision. Hey, do you want to stay at the corporate level and continue to grow there, which I was doing, or leave all of that and follow my entrepreneur roots and really hit this business as a home run, or try to. And so that's what I did. I left after 13 years, and it was really kind of to step away, really focus on the business, focus on family, and that has since blossomed. I was a little nervous the day I left and look in the rearview mirror like there went my last paycheck. But ever since, the phone has continued to ring. We've just gone through a pandemic and we're still showing growth. So super excited, super blessed. 5 years later, we now have 5 employees. We're trying to hire one more, and still continuing to grow. So anyway, again,
Mhm.
I don't know. That might be more than listeners wanted to know, but it was kind of a hobby that turned into a full-time business for me. And I can't say that have any more passion for anything else besides Aggie football than I do for the business that I work in. So I'm truly, truly excited every morning to wake up and go to work.
So, Roy, are you a design firm? Or are you a construction firm? Are you both? How do you see yourself?
Yeah, so currently we are primarily a design firm. We design about 250 homes a year for different custom home builders.
Wow.
Prior to us moving into an office and me hiring additional employees, I did have one previous employee who worked with me for a while, and I would build 1 or 2 custom homes a year in the local area for somebody that I knew or somebody came in that didn't have a builder. And that's really helped me grow as a designer because I got firsthand knowledge, visiting with contractors on the job. Hey, this doesn't go together, or we need to do something different next time on this house, and really got that one on one connection and trust with them. And then that just blossom as they obviously refer us, to their customers because they know that we're going to listen to them and hopefully not repeat the same mistakes because everybody makes mistakes. But
Yeah.
so anyway, not that we won't take on a build job, but for the most part, we're a design firm as we stand today.
So, going from what I heard you say is that when you made the switch, the full entrepreneur jump, you're doing about 40 plans a year. To how many plans did you do last year?
I think we did like 246.
Oh, okay. So rough math, 600% more, 6 times as much. That's tremendous growth in 5 years. Holy cow. Was there something that was like a tipping point or something that just like really accelerated that growth for you?
Um, I mean, I think a lot of it. So most of our growth has been organic, and definitely while I was with, obviously doing by myself, working with the firm I did, we didn't have social media platforms. So contrary to everybody else out there, I've never been on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook social media, no Instagram, none of that. But I hired when we decided to really like, hey, business is growing. I need to hire people. I needed somebody to help manage, and so we hired a customer relations manager. She does all our social media. So I laugh. I was just saying before we started this that we just hit 5,000 followers on Facebook, which is a big deal for a small design
Heck
firm
yeah,
like
it
ourselves.
is.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Um, but when I hired her, I think I had 5. So we had created a Facebook business, and I think I had 5 followers, and I just never really did anything with it. And she's really helped promote, all of our non-organic growth, all the social media, and we get tons of people that follow us. Website, coming in that direction. So I don't know. I'd give a lot of credit to that, where she's really broadened our horizons. We've done projects out of state, and there's no way, obviously, organically, that we would have got those jobs. So
We're all facing challenges, and I know in your industry you face all sorts of challenges. What's your biggest challenge that you're facing today, and how are you hacking it?
yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges, just got back from the National Home Builder Show. We talked about employment, and I think we our phone continues to ring. Home building is probably one of the largest industries in the country as far as growth since the pandemic. Everybody has spent time at their house, enjoyed more time maybe than they wanted with their kids, and they need a house that gives them more options. So that's what we're hearing. We need more home offices. Both parents are working from home, and so I think with all of that, people are calling. They either need remodels or new homes, and we just have an abundance amount of prospects, if you will. And so labor right now is a huge shortage. We're about to make a hire, hopefully this next week. We've extended an offer, but it's taken us 6 months to narrow down to find that person. It's just really, really hard to find,
Wow.
especially experienced labor. I mean, I know
Mhm.
there's lots of kids graduating from A&M, which we'd love to hire. But at this point, we've got quite a bit of young talent and looking for somebody with experience, and is really trying to get that person to transition out of their current role and move into, especially in a small company like ourselves. But I mean, I think that's across the board, especially in the residential construction engineering type positions. It's really, really hard to find labor right now. In fact,
Yeah.
one of the statistics at the home builder show we were talking about is they said that if every person that was on unemployment took a current job opening, that there would still be open jobs remaining. So
Wow.
Wow.
that gives an idea of where we're at.
The, the industry's just grown so much, and that's something that we hear constantly over and over and over again with our entrepreneurs here, is that just having the right people, attracting the right people, and then retaining them is so critical. But as you're growing, you're going to need to expand. So that is definitely something that the Aggie Network and the Aggie Growth Hacks family, as we're coming together to be able to help share. Okay, how can we do all those in this crazy crazy world?
And I think our hack, right now is really not helping the supply situation so much. Is just being very transparent and honest with all of our customers. Like I said, we built up about a network of about 26 custom home builders that use us, and it's really frustrating for them to call after building a relationship over years, to call us and say, "Hey, we got a new customer. Can you meet with them?" And we tell them that, "Hey, it's 2 months before we can get to them." And it's just anyway, but we're just facing it with being honest and transparent that this is where we're at. We'll take care of them when we can. And we understand if you can't wait, but for the most part, we've had really good response. Those people sticking with us.
Well, I think that just speaks volumes of your system that you have in being transparent, and then also bringing value to your customer, the builder, everybody involved.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we really try. I mean, obviously, like every entrepreneur, every person in business, we have to make decisions and business changes. And so our model, changes every year. I take a look at the beginning of the year, especially, what's our goal is going to be? How are we going to get there? What are things we can do different? Um, and we're working on some of those currently right now. But yeah, I think again, it goes back to honesty. One of the things, you get taught at A&M, don't lie, steal, or cheat, or tolerate those who do. And I really sometimes really hone back on that. We either A, have a customer, or B, we get in a situation where it would be easier to do any of those three. We always choose not to. I mean, it's just something that'll bury your company forever. So I think it's something that I always really give credit back to A&M for teaching those. It seemed very simple when you're in college, right? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. Like, yeah, it's that's something, that's the motto or whatever. But in the business and where I've been in corporate America, I mean, it holds true. You gotta stick to that.
So, Roy, what is something that is really changing pretty rapidly in the custom home design industry that you're changing and you're having to adapt to?
Yeah, I think goes back to this pandemic that we just came through. But more people are staying home to work. I think one of the statistics we saw was I think it's almost 60% of people have had the either have had the opportunity or have currently have the opportunity to stay home and do their job. So used to right before it's funny we were talking about in 20 well, like 2018, 2019 in there, it was, the home office was a thing of the past. People didn't need that home office when you walk in the front door and you showed all the awards you've won. It just was a space that wasn't needed and would need to be transformed into something else. Today, we're looking at doing two offices in homes, his
Wow.
office, her office, the kids need a place. And that's been a big design change that we're now allocating square footage to create those. And they don't have to be 12 by 12 offices, but it might be a desk underneath a set of stairs, or it might be a little cutout in a pantry, just some seclusion where the husband can do a Zoom call, the wife can do a Zoom
Yeah.
call, and the kids, if they needed, can do a Zoom call, to do their
Mhm.
homework. So that's probably the biggest change that has come along. And how long that's going to last, obviously, we don't know with the pandemic. That and outdoor spaces. People so tired of being cramped up inside, wearing
Mhm.
masks, that we see a big trend that they want big outdoor yards. They want patios. They want places that they can stretch
Pools.
their arms. Pools.
Pools.
Pools are
Yeah.
big. Yeah, it would have been a big thing to get into the pool industry during this period.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious how many like not outside offices, what would that be called? Like an office that you build, in the backyard, like a like not a shed or a she shed kind of a thing, but like a home office back in the backyard, right? How many of those?
We see a lot of those where even just being in the house, some people are not so self-motivated that you can just get up, drink your cup of coffee and immediately go to work. Like you need to take 3 steps outside across a couple patio stones to go into another building and have a dedicated space so you can get your job done. And we see a lot of those going on. Plus it just gives a little private area that person feels that they can focus on their business and focus on their job. So yeah, no, it's big. We see shipping containers being used, relatively easy to change. Like a 10 or 8 by 20 shipping container, cut in a door and put a window in, and it's weather tight. And people put those in their backyards for little offices. So yeah, we see all kinds of things.
One of the big things that we talk about here on Aggie Growth Hacks is our big, hairy, audacious goals. Every entrepreneur has a vision for their company, knows exactly what direction that they're heading. And your big, hairy, audacious goal is your moonshot for the next 5 to 10 years. What's your BHAG?
It's a good question. I think it's changing. So you mentioned that every business owner knows what that is, and I think mine's changed. I mean, when I left the corporation, it was just be able to sustain an income. My big goal was provide where I could be a sole designer, have free time, and assist with family. Now we're looking at growing the company, and I'm still trying to get back into maybe freeing up a little bit and hiring some experienced labor where I have a little bit more free time. But I think as we stand today, seeing where we're at and the growth we've been able to achieve, and then also getting input from our developers, business people. We're very active here in our small hometown of Farmers, not hometown, but hometown now in Farmersville, Texas. That we'd like to be. I kind of would like to be the be all end all place to go, not only to get your house designed, but potentially do development. So I think in our 5-year goal, we're looking at potentially bringing in civil engineering, where we can do planned development neighborhoods. We're right on the outstretch of the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. So population here probably just slightly under 5,000 people, but within 5-10 minutes here, populations of 20 to 50,000. We're pretty close to McKinney, where you got over 100,000. So it's really coming this direction, and I think we're primed to put ourselves with landowners who want to develop properties. That if we can get in civil engineering, structural engineering, kind of be the whole group, people can come here, hire, and we take care of the whole package for them, from start to finish. And I have building knowledge. I've had construction superintendents who have asked about, hey, you have all these customers come in, they don't have builders, and right now we refer them out to other builders. Have you ever thought about, taking on a few of these jobs? And it's just, it's a little daunting, to do that all, like gather all of that by yourself. But as we continue to grow and we're able to carve off things, I think in 5, 10 years we potentially will have a design build aspect where for those who don't have or building options, that potentially we look at building more than one or two a year, but maybe we build 10 or 20 a year, to help, just try to spread our wings and kind of make ourselves a big player.
That is so cool to be able to realize that. I mean, real estate, construction, new multifamily, single family, residential, that's just continuing to boom, especially in the Dallas Fort Worth area. In Texas, everybody's coming home, but really for you to be able to capitalize on that, super cool. What a great BHAG.
Yeah, and I mean, just to follow up that, our niche market and how we kind of got into this is people want to move out of Dallas. They don't want to sit on 75 or 121 and sit in traffic, waiting to get to the architect's office. And so a lot of people bought land. They try to, spread their wings, buy 5 acres, 10 acres, 100 acres, out in the rural areas. And that's really where we concentrate today in the custom home market. They would rather drive back to Farmersville, not face any traffic, as opposed to drive, maybe 20 miles further. And they probably have a yellow book page or a Google list, full of architects they could go see. But they're going to be sitting in time and traffic, and it's more city. So it's kind of our niche market. I don't ever want to lose that. That's my roots. I grew up in a farm ranch, community town. We still farm and ranch, and so I really have that connection to agriculture and people that are moving on to the land. And I always want to maintain that. But at the same point, we're going to be surrounded by building, and why not take advantage of that? In the near future.
All right, Roy, we are rolling into the lightning round. Only rule is that you've got to answer each question in 60 seconds or less. So, unless we kind of stretch that out. But Roy, what is your favorite hack? Business hack, personal hack, something that you can share with our listeners that really has helped you out?
Yeah, I think we are touched on being honest. The honesty portion of that, which I think is always held true, and then just being transparent. Always through I guess, yeah, through growing. And this is going to end up over 30 seconds here, so I'll try to speed it up. But also, people hire us to be a experienced person, a professional service provider, and so they want us to provide feedback. And that's something that I've always tried to do. Is if I have knowledge about it, give it to you. If I don't, tell you, I'll look it up, or don't have knowledge, or reach out to somebody else. But I really think people, trust and believe in that, and that's the reason they hire us.
Love it. So, next question: what is the favorite advice you've ever been given? And bonus points if you can tell us how you applied it.
So yeah, the favorite advice I've ever been given, and this is probably how I've got from myself and one other employee until where we are today. I went to see a business coach or business analyst, and walked in their office and said, "Hey, I'm struggling. I don't know. Do I keep the business where it is? I have full autonomy. I can take off when I want, but I have the phones ringing off the wall. Or should I hire somebody because I'm struggling to keep up?" And they looked me in the eye and they said, "This is very simple. In 50 years, or not 50 years, but when you're 50, 55, 60, do you still want to be doing what you are today?" And I looked at myself and I thought, I enjoy what I do, but I don't know if I want to have to depend on me waking up every day touching the keyboard to make a life for myself. And so at that point, we decided to make a hire. And since then, we're just continuing. I still enjoy doing what I do every day, but obviously I think that was the best advice. And I was expecting this long 30-minute analysis of what I needed to do, and it was very point blank.
Where do you want to be when you're 55? That's perfect.
Right. What do you want to be when you grow up, right?
Or 65 or 70. I'm a guy that's probably never going to quit working. So I always got to have something to do.
But there's a difference between working when you want and how you want, and what you have to do.
That's correct. That is very true. Sure. Yep.
Roy, what's your superpower?
My superpower is, that's a really tough one. And I was really going to say, I don't feel I have a superpower. it's just really relying and trusting other people, because we can only do so much, individually. So I know, as a superpower, you're looking at Spider-Man, Batman, people that have this one-off that, is always going to beat everybody else. And probably my superpower to that degree is just be able to outwork everybody for whatever reason. I've got an extreme, dedication and drive to work. So I don't have any issue getting up. Some mornings I still get up at 4. I get up at 2:30 on Friday mornings. It's my get her done Friday. Everything that didn't get done, I get done between 2:30 and 8 a.m. And then we finish out the day. But I know that, anyway, so that's probably my superpower. People give me a hard time, like, dude, you work a ton, but I still make time and dedication after 5 when my kids get out of school, that I can, devote time to them. And the weekends, I hardly ever work, as far as this business goes. And so, but during the week, I'll give it all I got.
Good for you. You and Sheena Parker, man. We've got another Aggie Growth Hacks episode where she gets up and starts work at 4 o'clock every day. And like that. That is insane. Insane.
There's no email, no phone. You can, yeah. There's a lot of people that get up and work early and they tell you they get more done in those hour, 2 or 3 or 4 hours than they do the next 8. And I'm a true believer in that. Yeah. Early bird gets the worm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I've been doing lately, and this is just total side note, is that in between 6 and 8 in the morning is when I'm getting the majority of my big stuff done, So
yeah, it's uninterrupted focus where you can really hone out on those big jobs or big tasks that need to get done.
Yep.
Anybody that's got employees, I think, it doesn't even have to have employees, but if you have people calling, you're going to get interrupted during the day where you're trying to focus on a task. And, it's hard to really get focused. And in the design world, it's hard for me to get into the design mode, really focus on a customer's plan, remember everything that they're wanting, and really try to hone out a good floor plan design when I'm getting interrupted all the time. But you give me an hour at 4 or 5 in the morning and it's focus time. It's amazing what can be done.
Love it. So Roy, what gets you out of bed and excited about your business?
Alarm clock? No.
At 2:30 in the morning.
I really, as I said, I worked in a corporate job, loved what I do. Absolutely. As American, fighting the war, helping those guys on the front lines every day. And I felt coming home from that I was doing the right thing. But right now, I really am I was a kid, I was passionate about building. I'm passionate about home design. I'm passionate about reading, architecture, energy efficient ways to build a house, the latest design trends, what's Benjamin Moore's favorite color for this year. Like those things are what really gets me out of bed, and really focusing on the customer and who's ahead of me on what they want in their home and bringing smiles to their faces. So I have no issue getting out of bed and going to work. I know it's probably really rare for people who maybe aren't entrepreneurs or don't own their own business, but aren't in a passionate field. A lot of people, I joke about this, and I hope that doesn't offend any accountants out there, but I always wonder, like, how does an accountant, just really be passionate about accounting, moving numbers from column to column? I know it's so much more than that. So I don't mean that to be a joke, but anyway, I'm really passionate about my job and what we do here at Tracy's.
Well, I'm not an accountant, but I'm close enough. I guess a banker's an accountant that's not as smart to have their own firm.
Nah. Yeah. It's just, what I'm getting out of that is, I really passionate about the job, about what we provide, about the design. It's not, I got into a niche market and, hey, we can make a little bit of money doing this, and we're forcing ourselves through it day to day. It's like real happy smiles to come to work, meet a customer, design a house, and send them on their way to a builder to get it built. So anyway, it's your passion, it's your purpose, and to be able to have that and to realize that I can also make money and build a business, and I can support my family and my staff's family and just the community that we are in. Is that, Roy, that is so powerful. That is a superpower right there. Yeah, that's what I enjoy. Yeah. Well, Roy, how can the Aggie Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? Obviously, if anybody out there is
thinking about designing a custom home, Roy is the guy to see. And make sure you also check out Chris Bolio, who's a previous Aggie Growth Hacks guest. He'll build it, and Roy will design it. But Roy, how can our family get in touch with y'all?
Yeah, they can reach us at sales. If they want to send an email, they can go to sales@tracyscustomhomes.com. We have a website, Tracy's www.tracyscustomhomes.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, so you can look up Tracy's Custom Homes. We're located here in Farmersville, Texas, and we have an office. We meet with clients daily, and we're passionate about obviously what we do. But yeah, we'd love to get in touch and help out any way we can.
Well, Roy, thank you so much for coming on and joining us on Aggie Growth Hacks. Thank you for being honest and open and really sharing a lot of value bombs. I really can't appreciate it enough. And again, congratulations on your Aggie 100 win. And we cannot wait to see you on the 2022 Aggie 100 list.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Chris. It's been a pleasure to meet with you. And I know, Greg, I got to see you at the Aggie 100 banquet. But yeah, it's fantastic. But we really appreciate the opportunity to visit and share our information with you.
So how about that, Ags? Was that really cool or what? Roy shared with us some really amazing value bombs. What was your favorite, Greg?
Well, Chris, one of the things that Roy said over and over and over again was just being transparent and being open and honest, throughout the entire design process, and just kind of working with, he's got like multiple customers. Obviously, the people who are having the custom home designed, they're the customers, but he also has to work with the builders or the other people that are in that process. And so to have full transparency and to say, okay, here's kind of what the process is, here's where we are. And like he said, he's backed up for 2 months, and he's like, look, if you need to go with another provider or get another designer to work on it, completely understand. But I think it's that transparency, and then just following on the core values that, Aggies don't lie, cheat, or steal, have that as the foundation of the bedrock. That's it. It's good to be reminded of that every now and then, because without integrity, without that bedrock, without that transparency, your business is going to fail. I don't care what industry or where you are in it. What about you? What kind of did you take away from our discussion with Roy?
So I think for me, the biggest takeaway, other than 250 homes in 1 year, is just I can't even fathom that, right?
Yeah.
But for me, right, was that he's an early riser. Right. And honestly, after talking with Sheena, I have started to do exactly that, and to push myself a little bit more on getting up a little bit earlier and getting those bigger things done. Right. And as I talk to more and more entrepreneurs, right, and we obviously, me with blocking and tackling, is that if I put those big things right at the beginning of the day, and actually just focus on those things for a couple of hours, well, shoot, by the end of the week, that's 10 focused hours that I can give to those bigger projects every single week without being pulled in, 100 different directions from everybody. So I love that. I love him where he said that he gets up super early and gets the most important stuff done so that he can get it focused and get her done.
100%. Well, Ags, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. Chris and I hope that you enjoyed it and that you connect with Roy and Tracy's Custom Homes on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you are. When you're on the web, I hope that you connect with Chris and I, and make sure that you check out Aggie Growth Hacks. And if you're not joined in the Aggie Growth Hacks Facebook group, that you join us. Also, check out AggieGrowthHacks.com, where you can listen to all of our previous podcast episodes, as well as some of our other great content.
Aggie Growth Hacks was produced by fellow Aggies over at Podcast Architects. We also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head on over to their website to find a program that's right for you. Just go over to AggieGrowthHacks.com/McFerrin right now. Join us next time when we connect with another Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.